one man saying that is fine. If that's your opinion and you're not in it, that's fine. But there is an entire market of millions and millions of people that agree that it is a store of value. So, you can think one thing, but there's also a market, and markets tend to become efficient over time.
We do know that you will always get paid in HEX on a daily basis. And that is truly the miracle that we call HEX, because it is trustless interest, trustless yield. Nothing will stop that contract from running.
Welcome everybody to the Creed of Crypto. My name is Broke Boy Crypto. I have here with me, as always, my friend and co-host Crypto Ewok. We have a great show for you tonight that is going to be highlighted by some bullish-ish posts by Richard Hart over the last week or so about HEX potentially doing a 10,000X again and what people could think about that, what the haters might say. That'll be the main topic of conversation tonight. We have a whole bunch to get into. Bitcoin and Ethereum holding up really strongly over the last week, which is very encouraging. Some cycle talk, as we've been doing every week for the last 4 years, basically. It is September 10th, and we're wondering, when will this cycle be over? When will Ethereum pump in earnest and a lot more? But we're probably going to start off on a pretty somber note here, because just a very sad, strange, weird day here in America. And I know all of our viewers are not in America, so, forgive the bias here, but Charlie Kirk, American political pundit, obviously kind of a Republican conservative influencer guy, 31 years old, was just assassinated. I mean, the word came down that he did in fact pass away from this shooting at, and I forget the name of it's a small college in Utah that he was speaking at today. And it's just insane. I think everybody's just in complete shock. I wanted to welcome in the chat before I got everybody down, but Pookie Doo, no way to really transition into that. Welcome you into the show. Philly, Valiant Low Key, Mike Crypt, Tam Tam, hello, my lovelies to you. Duke of Booze, always appreciate you being here as well. Thank you all for being here. Hit the like. We appreciate you guys being here. We do this every Wednesday at 6:30. Philly. Yeah, I mean, and Ewok, I'm going to shoot it over to you here, but this is my sentiment pretty much exactly. Ewok and I are both fathers, and yeah, I think it hits different when you do have kids. It's just crazy, but we're not going to spend the whole show on this. We'll get to the crypto and try to feel good here, but this just happened 3 hours ago. So I mean, we're kind of freshly processing this. So Ewok, what do you make of this situation? I guess just as the rest of the headline, they thought they had arrested, and who knows what's real and what's not, as usual with this kind of stuff, but they thought that they had arrested the shooter. They had somebody in custody. From what I heard earlier, they apparently let that person go, and they were not the shooter, and they are still at large, which is not inspiring. There apparently is some video out there now of what looks to be the shooter posted up on top of the roof across the way, not dissimilar to what we saw, a couple Julys ago when Donald Trump was just outside Pittsburgh, PA. But yeah, what do you make of this news? I mean, just crazy.
It's just horrific. And, I was telling you before we started the stream, I was like, it's very, very ironic that his last Twitter X post mentioned the politicalness of the murder of the Ukrainian girl, Irina, I forget her last name, but and how things have become so politicized, and it's just awful. Any time that it becomes, any killing is awful. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't want to underscore or overshadow the school shootings, things like that happen all the time. But those are just deranged people, obviously. they all are. Anybody that would commit a crime like that has got some problems. But yeah, when it becomes politicized because you don't agree with somebody's political views, what's it come to, man? I mean, we're all free to have an opinion, and that's kind of why America is supposed to be great for that. And when you don't even have that freedom now to speak in a public forum, and somebody, you for fear that somebody's going to try and take you out because they don't agree with your opinion, it's just terrible. So I do feel for his family, his kids. Young guy. He was born in '93. I mean,
yeah, just 31.
Just a kid, unfortunately, who had a lot going for him, and just sad.
Conspiracy Crypto, same here. Accidentally saw the video while scrolling. It really shook me up. No one deserves that. Yeah, crazy day when, and I'm not blaming anybody for this. It just is what it is. I was just talking to a person close to me about this. Like when we were kids, you kind of had to search out for this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like I remember back in the day, all the teenagers going to like facesofhell.com, and you see weird crap or whatever. You just pop open Twitter and there's an assassination.
Faces of death.
Yeah, there you go. And I think there's been an effort made to get them removed, because I mean, and I don't know. I mean, whatever. I don't want to get into that. It's about whether that's censorship or not. I mean, I just don't think that that's a great thing for people to see, especially when children can access the app and stuff. I mean, it's just, like I know the stuff that my son sees, just the way he is, just the way he looks around the internet. He could easily accidentally run into something like that. And it's just scary to think of. But I'm
going to share this last post and read it. And it says, if we want things to change, it's 100% necessary to politicize the senselessness murder of Irina Zarutska, because it was politics that allowed her, a savage monster with 14 priors, to be free on the streets to kill her. And that was his last tweet, at 1:34 Eastern. And I think it happened at like 3 something.
Around there. Yeah.
So that's
the
irony is deep.
Yeah, there's really not a lot of words for it. Obviously, there's many people covering it. I think, we're certainly not the people that are going to provide the most awe-inspiring commentary on it, I don't think, other than just what we feel. And, it sucks. And again, we could have seen this happen with Trump just a year and a half ago or whatever that was. And now we are seeing it happen here with Charlie Kirk. And I think most of all, it's just scary that this is happening and can happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I totally agree. I mean, like, you think about it. I was thinking about this earlier. Think about like maybe some of the politicians that we vehemently oppose. I think probably somebody like Elizabeth Warren is number one on our disagree with list when it comes to being crypto people. I wouldn't celebrate her or anybody's death. I mean, that's an entirely different issue than just completely disagreeing with somebody on something. So, I mean, in a way, it's really pathetic because, a guy like Charlie is out there willingly going in front of all these people, defenseless. I mean, I'm sure there's security, but him himself defenseless, debating, like doing what we should do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like with seemingly willing participants that are on the other side of the aisle or other side of the conversation that are wanting to engage with this as well. And kudos to them for wanting to do it, and that's a good thing, I believe. This wasn't like he was a guy posted up on a street corner at a university randomly uninvited, imposing his will. This is a tour that was sanctioned by the university, that there was a setup for. And
you see a lot of those debates online. You scroll through the YouTube shorts or whatever they are, and there's always cuts of different conversations he's having with people. Never hostile, never, it's always good discourse. At least, he's providing reasons why he disagrees, and it doesn't get heated or out of hand. I've never seen him, get that way with any of the people that have, vehemently disagreed with him or opposed him. He's always been cool, calm, collected, and it's just like I said, sad to see that somebody that disagrees with him that much decided to take him out. So,
well, and as usual, as you and I were speculating off air, which probably isn't a great idea to speculate, but it never in these cases seems like it's some random, lesser equipped individual just in the crowd. I mean, these things are usually a little bit more coordinated, I guess, shall we say? And I guess we'll find. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's known that the person was on the roof, so I don't know what happened there, but it's a shame, and I guess we'll see to dig our way out of it. But I mean, to kind of remember what the backbone of like our country professes to be is people being free, having liberty to pursue what they want to pursue. I know not everybody always feels like that is the case, whether it really isn't the case for them or they are just victims. Of course, there's plenty of both of that, but it's a big reason, not to like turn this into a crypto thing for our show. And we'll get to what Richard Hart said about the issue here, but it's another one of the big reasons, other than, you want to make money, that we advocate for cryptocurrency, because this is for everyone. It's not for Republicans. It's not for Democrats. It's not for libertarians. Whoever you are, like, we welcome you to the blockchain. We welcome you to crypto. Everybody should have the freedom to transact, not be spied on by their government, and have freedom of movement, do the things that they want to do. And I would say that to the wokest of woke liberal. I would say it to the staunchest conservative Catholic. I mean, it just sucks that stuff like this is happening. But yeah, what do we have RH chiming in on this?
Yeah, he said, I don't know how to reach Charlie Kirk's family, but I'd love to give them $10,000 if they have a real verifiable address on the network of their choice. He says if you donate to his 501c3, the funds by law have to go to the nonprofit's mission. It's quite unlikely that the 501c3's mission is to fund the family of the executives of the nonprofit. So I don't see a way that his family would benefit from the donations to charity. So yeah, Richard put out feelers to try and get some money donated to the family as well. So that was, I thought, commendable.
Definitely good. Yeah. And Richard was kind of on it, posting about this as it happened as well, just as he was whenever the attempt on Trump's life was made too. And cool to see him out there, trying to give whatever gesture he can. I mean, I'm sure the family is in utter shambles. So,
yeah, and I'm sure that's the last thing on their mind at this point. But eventually help pay for services. I'm sure they're not hurting for it, but again, it was a kind gesture.
Yeah. And yeah, no easy way to transition out of it. I mean, we'll see what the news is on this in the coming days. I mean, everybody's obviously going to be tuned in about it. One thing I will say, and I'm a total advocate for, is the further decentralization of the media that we consume. And again, I can only speak for this country. I don't know exactly how it is everywhere else. I know it's probably similar, but these major networks covering this and some of the pontificating and the horrible things that people are saying, I'm just not a fan of legacy media in any way, shape, or form. And of course, it's not like it's just them. Like, you're going to get, and I've already seen it, there's people on X that even yesterday were like making threats like on his life that I'm sure they're going to be doxxed and their life is probably now ruined. But just the mainstream coverage of stuff like this, I'm just so glad that empire is coming to an end, is all I have to say.
Yep. Somebody said it earlier that, you have to get to the head of the snake. And it, a lot of times that kind of points back to Soros.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's, everybody on here is pretty awake. I mean, most people obviously watching this show are not going to watch those legacy types of channels for that kind of content. So we'll see what comes out in the coming days. True shame. So rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Thoughts obviously with the family and especially his kids. And we'll just see where we go from here. So no easy way to transition into crypto, but I think things have been looking very positive, on the other hand, in the market over the last week. Looking specifically at Bitcoin and Ethereum, you were saying to me off air, well, there's not too much to talk about. And I agree. There hasn't been any drastic price moves, but just last week, this is how quick the news just goes away, obviously, in crypto. We had a horrible jobs report yet again, another one under the Trump presidency that, it's like, are the numbers real or are the numbers not real? Either way, the report was horrible. The market reaction was immediately kind of somber one, but Bitcoin and Ethereum have held up really well. Bitcoin was down to 109K. It continued to close above that on the daily. Today, it's pumped. We've got Bitcoin on the verge of 114K right now. Ethereum's followed along. It was over 4,400 earlier today. There was a real shot over this last week for these numbers to tank in the short term. I mean, there were people calling for the 98K support level, breakdown into the low 100Ks for BTC. None of that has happened. We still have a week until the rate cuts. And you and I have been sharing the perspective for 3 weeks or so now that we thought that we would pump kind of in earnest going into the rate cuts because the news is already priced in. Like we pretty much know it's happening. I mean, at this point, the question isn't, are they cutting? Is it 25 or 50 basis points? And it'll probably be 25, but I mean, everybody assumes that's what's happening at this point. And then maybe we get a bit of a sell-off after the fact because, again, everyone already knows this is coming. So I've been saying that we could see ETH over $5,500 by the time we get the rate cuts. I'm still not going to walk that back, even though we're only a week away. I mean, this could be right now the beginning of that pump. I could be totally wrong. No point really trying to predict that short of term stuff, but I think we continue this bullish trajectory. So what do you make of this price action?
Yeah, it's just a lot of sideways. And again, we say this in the times of consolidation, sideways to slight up movement means that there are people buying and the sellers are somewhat exhausted. So, I mean, that's what I'm seeing with Bitcoin here. We have between the 50 and the 200 moving averages, it's tapping on the 50, which means if it breaks through that, it starts to kind of run. So that is something to look out for. Now, will it pull back, once the 50 moving average kind of turns upward to keep pace with the price? It does usually kind of tap back down, but to get across that, right now it's sitting in between the two. It's always, whenever it kind of goes through it, it goes through it hard. Like back here in April, when it broke through, it went hard. And, again, here it kind of touched it and then went hard. So same thing when it breaks through that moving average. And then you look at Ethereum's price and, we've been riding this long-term trend line and it is slowly, running with it as well. These are very just, consolidation candles here looking very, very bullish. So again, I can see this pulling away very quickly. We talk about this candle back here in, I guess it was May, where it literally ran over $1,000 in 2 days. So it doesn't take much for something to, when it gets spring loaded like that, to kind of release. And it could, you're very right. We could still be over 5,000, probably close to 6,000 in a week's time. Now, I'm not predicting that. I don't think that's going to happen because, you can't say things like that. But it's a possibility. And I do think people will front run the rate lowering. Now, the question becomes something that you brought up there. Is it going to be 25 points or is it going to be 50? I think if it's 25, I think that is priced in. I think if it's 50, that adds to the reaction. I really do. And I think there's a good chance of 50 points happening. I really do. I think they have to make a change. The jobs report has been terrible. Powell has been so against doing this, but I don't think he has a choice. Have you looked at the odds lately? There's that webpage that tells
Yeah.
you.
I'm a little late, but as of a couple days ago, it was only about 10 to 15% likelihood for 50 basis points.
Okay,
Um, but also what you just reminded me of as you were talking, and I don't know the whole story on this. I don't know if there's a Republican talking line. You can never get any real news out there, but there's been all this data that apparently there are all these fudge numbers at the end of the Biden administration,
yeah,
in terms of jobs numbers that people are stating that proves that Powell should have been cutting even longer ago. I mean, obviously, we already thought he should have been for a while, but even going back further and further, and that there was fudging of numbers towards the end of the Biden administration, which, I mean, it's a politician. I'm sure there probably was, but
sure.
so there's even that. So that could even maybe add more to your point that maybe there is a higher likelihood this could be 50. And I agree with you. I don't think 50 is priced in. I definitely don't.
I don't either, and I think that could be very, like I said, I think that could be reactionary. I do think that 25 is priced in, and I think within the next week. What was the date of the meeting? Did you say it was the 20?
It should be next. No, it's next week.
Is it
It's probably the
17th?
7th. It's usually on Wednesday, so it's probably the
Yeah.
17th. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think within the next week, you'll see a nice little run up with the 25 points being priced in. Again, if it goes to 50, which it probably should,
Yeah.
I think you will see further additional pump coming off of that as well.
I think so too. I think that's the only thing that would make it not a sell the news event. And when I say
Yeah.
sell the news, I don't mean like Bitcoin's going to go to 100K or something. I just mean,
Right. Right.
a little bit of a sell off for a couple
Sure.
days, and then we probably still consolidate and go up more later or something like that. But
Yeah. And Bitfinesse, I'm not sure, man. I still don't think retail is quite here. I think we're getting close. I would love to see that, but the sideways pattern just doesn't really show it quite yet. I think we're getting close, but I don't see it quite yet. So
and I am with you. That Ethereum chart price action, anybody that is still bearish on Ethereum right now is blind. I mean, I
yeah,
just don't know what else to say at this point. Like, be happy with the Bitcoin dominance you've had so far. Be happy that Bitcoin has just destroyed and melted faces this entire cycle. Be happy about all of what you've gotten. Okay.
yeah,
But at this point, us people who have been suffering down here waiting for this to break out, that bull flag on Ethereum is very evident. It is
yeah.
extremely bullish looking.
Sure
So
is.
yeah.
Sure is. And I agree with Brownies here. I mean, this is, I think we're getting to that point too. This is like a last call. Get your tickets ready and get on the train, or you're going to probably get left behind. It's going to happen here sooner or later. And I think sooner is in the cards for us. So,
Full disclaimer, we've been saying this for 3 years, but I
well,
no, I'm just kidding. But I'm with you, Brownies. Yeah, there's more evidence than ever to feel this way. I do agree with you. Yeah, it's looked good. And I guess finally, I mean, we've been harping on this every week, so we don't have to get into it too much. But as far as timeline, what are you still thinking here? I mean, do you still think the final top for both Bitcoin, ETH, and alts is all by the end of the year, and we begin a descent by sometime in December? Do you think we spill into 2026? Because I think with where I am right now, I'm still pretty firmly in. I really like the thesis of the repeat of that 2017, 2018 cycle. It just seems
yeah.
the most likely with what we've seen. And I think we probably see Ethereum top next year very early. What do you
I think so too, but I really think it's going to depend on when it really takes off. If it, and then we give it 6 or 8 weeks to give it what it needs to do to get to that blow off top place,
Mhm.
and then we can kind of determine it. But again, it's all a matter of the takeoff. It really is going to depend on when that happens before we can really say yeah, because historically the cycles have never really fallen on the same month, the
Yeah.
tops anyway. It's always been a little bit different. So it's just so really hard to say. And you have to kind of estimate when it takes off. When it takes off, then you give it, say, 6, 8 weeks. Could it be more this time because of the, institutional money? Possibly. Could go 8 or 9 weeks, maybe 10 weeks. But, it's usually within a month of that. you get a good 2-month run, and it's usually, a couple weeks, give or take a little bit. So
Right.
I think we just have to wait for that takeoff to be able to determine how long it's going to go and see how actually hard that it really runs.
Yeah. Yep, I am with you, but things certainly looking extremely bullish for Ethereum. And again, both of them, Bitcoin and Ethereum, holding up really well with this bad jobs report last week. So, good stuff there. Trey Skates, I'm going to put your question on the back burner for a moment because we're about to cover the PulseChain ecosystem here. So, yeah, if you guys are enjoying the show, do us a favor. Please hit the like button. We do this every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate all of you being here. PulseChain has been in a nice little move up, a little bit of a rebound from where we were last week. I thought you were going to be very prophetic, Ewok, because I do distinctly remember you talking about, well, we'll look at the Pulse chart in a minute. I'll just say the prices, then I'll say this. But Pulse at 4 zeros and a 4.2 basically right now. We have HEX at just over a penny, so it is back up over that key penny mark. We have Pulse X at 4 zeros, 295. I have some interesting thoughts on Pulse X, actually. From watching DIY investing, Donovan's video the other day, I thought was very interesting. And then EHEX, we have got it at
0018.
Yep, there you go. And don't want to forget PDI, of course, for EWOC, 00442 right now. So, and if Crypto7's watching, sorry, I didn't mean to bully EWOC. I know he can't stand up for himself, so please come to his defense and bail him out. But anyway, what are your thoughts on the ecosystem right now, price-wise? And what I was going to say about the Pulse chart, you mentioned, I think it was like the 4 zeros and a 3.4 number or something was a big level of support that we've been at many times. We were up at about this price that we're at right now last week, and you said you could see it bouncing down off there again. It got damn near it. I mean, it did do a pullback, and I thought you were going to nail it. It didn't quite get there. I mean, which is nice. But yeah, what do you make of where we're at with Pulse right now?
Yeah, well, so I mean, we're stair stepping again. Okay, so this is getting. Anytime you see these type of moves, and this is on the. Oh wait, that's hang on. That's
sorry.
I hate 15-minute charts. All right. Well, so this run up looks much nicer. You had a nice little pattern. It did almost pull back to that area. We were at what, 3754.
Yeah.
So it got damn close to this previous high. And someone stepped in. So yeah. Looking good. Had a little bit of a cool off period here. Pulled back. What it pulled back? That's a decent little percentage. It pulled back about 4%, cooled off, and then started taking off again. So, yeah, I'm liking the looks of this. Can I get rid of this over here? I wanted to blow the whole thing up and make it. There we go.
There it is.
When it condenses like that, it makes it hard to see a bigger picture.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that definitely looks much better. Now we're going to hit this area back here that was a key level as well, which is about 4451, 445-ish. It acted as pretty good resistance here. And then it was pretty good support back here in February. So, I think we could have a little bit of trouble at that level getting through there. So that's definitely something we want to keep an eye out for here. Let me just draw a little line and mark that off, because I think once we can get through there, it could be smooth sailing for a bit anyway. So definitely keep that in mind. It wouldn't be a bad to bounce off of it a little bit. Again, when you start to run like this, cool off areas aren't a bad thing if you want to keep it healthy. So,
right.
Even the next couple days, we could easily get there. These prices, we could get there pretty quickly. So,
yep.
I don't think it would take a whole lot. There just isn't much going on. The volume isn't overly high at the moment, whether it's buy or sell. So, we did have a couple high volume days back here, late August. and then some in late July. But as of right now, the volume's pretty low.
Yeah, nice to see this rebound though. It's been looking pretty good. I want to tackle this is interesting. We have two conversations about another core coin versus Pulse here as Ewok loads some music.
Whoa, what the hell happened?
I don't know what happened there. Interesting.
That was weird.
Who was the artist anyway? Was it?
I don't even know. I was
Okay. All right.
not really. Sorry.
Make sure you don't share any of the private tabs with us. We don't need to see anything inappropriate. As you pull that up, Trey Skates, I'm going to put your comment up here. So he says, looks like PHEX, in other words, will be making new highs soon against its pulse pair ratio. We could pull that up if you go just to like Dex Screener and do HEX/WPLS. We could see where HEX is against Pulse, which it's always kind of interesting to know where the other core tokens are, how they're performing against Pulse. We talk about the Pulse X, how strong it had been against Pulse for a really long time, basically throughout its entire existence from the PulseChain launch. But we don't really look at HEX against Pulse all that much. So we can do that. And then, as I was just mentioning, the Pulse X Pulse chart, we'll talk about that in a minute because it has started to break down. That's what Donovan was talking about the other day, which I thought was an interesting conversation. But yeah, let's look at HEX right now. And let's look at this now, and then we'll get into what RH's comments from last week after this. But
yeah, so this is HEX Pulse pair in Pulse terms. So yeah, all right. So I was trying to get here and wasn't really listening to what you were.
No, it's okay. You didn't
comparing.
Have to.
So
no, is this the whole way zoomed out? I don't know. It's only yeah. So if we go, even if you want to maybe put it on, okay, that's the whole. Yeah, I
that's
guess
the whole chart.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't look like it's near the high really at all. It's about probably I'd assume that's probably about 50% down still, but it does that does look good, that action recently there. Like if you just look at some of the coiling here over the last few weeks, I would say that does look pretty good. What say you?
Well, we're down 43% from the top.
Okay.
Obviously I don't really care to measure from the top. I rather measure from the bottom and where we're up when it started. But let's take a look at that, because that's also interesting. When it started back here, that fact that we're up 226%. So from the bottom, down 40% from the top. So when the coins are tied together as heavily as they are, depending on liquidity, these are going to be, I think this is going to run pretty quickly and get away from Pulse. I often wonder, will PulseChain token itself be kind of suppressed? Because we don't want it to get really high, then the fees get high, and then it kind of defeats the purpose of PulseChain being cheaper. I often wonder that, but because everything's tied together so heavily, I don't know that that's possible without buying a bunch of Pulse and then selling it for HEX. You know what I mean? And buying it that way. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're going to run together. I think Pulse itself, though, will be kind of suppressed for the reason alone of keeping the fees a little bit lower. I think it's still going to have a nice run, but I still think HEX is your front runner as far as core coins anyway.
Well, it definitely does seem to be a little bit of the growing sentiment. I mean, with one RH tweet basically over the past week, and maybe that's one of those things that it should have always made sense that he would want HEX above anything else to really print numbers. Well, that said, with these all being liquidity bonded, that means everything will still do well. It's just one's going to end up. That's why we've been advocates basically the whole time of, like, when we're DCAing into all of them equally. Like, I very rarely was like, having extra money and putting it in just one token to make up the balance of another or something. Maybe we did that a little bit when we were yield farming in earnest, and I think that's okay. Like when the yield farms were worth actually doing, and we were doing the PulseX pair, I think that makes sense to maybe DCA at that time a little bit more into PulseX because you would have been losing it against Pulse
Right.
in that yield farm. We aren't really doing that right now though. So
well, it doesn't pay. The yield is, I mean, there's still some yield there, but it's just not as profitable to do it. The risk isn't worth it, I don't think.
yeah. Also to this point, we'll just kind of fly around here because there's some interesting comments here. EHEX to PHEX ratio is tempting. I totally agree. I mean, I think the people that are paying attention have noticed that over the last few weeks because HEX has run up hard over EHEX. I don't know what the exact ratio is right now, but when I have been buying the hexes, I've been buying them 50-50 right now. And I just don't think it's wise. I mean, if you want to be, not you, Valiant low key, but there are people out there that want to be like you shouldn't be buying this right now, buy this, don't buy this because this is what the ratio is. That, who knows? They may get some wins from saying things like that. But if you don't want to be that micromanagey about things in your portfolio, and if you don't want to be doing short-term swing trading, which that also lends itself to because it also will have tax implications too. If you just don't want that big of a headache, again, you could just buy all of them equally. And that's what I've done because you don't know what's going to run when, what's going to run the hardest when, or anything like that. So, no, I'm with you, though. I've been buying EHEX definitely for sure. We have never been a show that deemed EHEX dead and realized that is just a, mistake to even open up that can of worms argument. So, are you pulling up that ratio?
Yeah, I'm pulling up this is EHEX HEX ratio, and I guess we would want to see it in HEX terms, right? Not USD. Or
Right.
does it matter? Yeah.
No, it does matter. Yeah, you have to change it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there we go. So right now, EHEX is 0.17 of a PHEX.
HEX. Yeah. It's still pretty low. And that huge red candle, that's over to the left. Yeah, that's the RH tweet. The market has chosen, blah, blah, blah. That's that post. You can see it revisited that area again. And then this most recent time, whenever that was, I don't even remember when that was, July, August, maybe. The next one to the right. I forget what the catalyst was for that or why that happened. Maybe it wasn't really a narrative thing. Maybe it just drifted down. But ever since this latest big red candle, the one over to the right, not that one, Ewok, but that
over here?
Yeah, since that happened, I started to DCA into them equally instead of anything else. So,
I don't remember what caused this other than I think there was a very large player that was dumping. It's suspected to be Kyle, maybe Dev Kyle.
Oh yeah, that might have been it. And then obviously somebody put BankX in chat. I mean, that's always been true too, but they've been doing it so gradually. Yeah, they're almost out. You are correct about that.
This was a very large, over a couple 100 million, leaving pretty quickly within a couple days. And I believe that's what this was here on the EHEX anyway. But I don't remember exactly. BankX has been exiting slowly. They haven't really hurt the price as much as people talked about it and were afraid of their stack. They've actually not really hurt the price. They've been a threat to the price, but they haven't hurt it.
Right. And you want them getting out at these prices, obviously. This is exactly what you want to happen. Every whale, you want to totally get out, let the price go to new lows you never thought imaginable, even though it's stomach churning in the meantime. I mean, that's just what we've realized over the last few years is like when people are going to sell, let them sell down here, I mean, that's when you want them to do it. Would you ever recommend a DCA into Bitcoin? I mean, that's a totally opposite conversation, but
it is an opposite conversation, but I would at the bottom, in those areas, whenever we know that it's peaked and gone down after about a year at the top, then I mean, that would be the time. Seeing how long it takes the altcoins to run, I mean, I think it would be a very wise decision if you're going to DCA into anything at that point to make it Bitcoin, because it does run first. And It starts things off. So that would be the time.
Yeah, I definitely would not right now. I mean, I
No,
think right
no,
now, yeah, that's
no.
kind of how I was at first taking it. I mean, right now, what are you looking at? Hopefully a
A
2x.
2x maybe? Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
If you're
And
lucky.
and I would say to be careful with one thing you just said, Ewok. Well, you have been right historically. Maybe you will continue to be. And Bitcoin, either way, your main point was like it's a good bear market. Like that's where you want to go in a bear market, like stable coins, Bitcoin, even Ethereum too. And I think because of the weird action we've seen on Ethereum this bull cycle, I just wonder if Bitcoin will be, you know where I'm going, like will be like the decision only to go into in the next bear market. Like Ethereum, maybe it outperforms it at a lower point. You know what I mean? Because it has suffered for so long this time. I just wonder if maybe Ethereum's bear market is shallower this time around or something.
Well, it could be. I mean, with the ETFs coming up, there's a lot of things that are approved and in motion, but we're just not seeing it on the price chart. So it is possible that it withstands some of that drawdown. Now, this will be a third or fourth cycle for Ethereum, third, right? This will be
This is Ethereum's third right now.
yeah. So this is a third, and progressively as things age and get more established, the downturn doesn't get as bad. So yeah, third cycle curse. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
it is. That's something Sami's been saying for a couple years, and yeah, it has looked correct for Ethereum so far. There's one other thing I wanted to say on the whole measuring things against Pulse. So DIY investing, Donovan, he's been in HEX for a long time. One of those somewhat bigger YouTube channels. I think he has like 85K subs that does cover PulseChain and stuff like that, and has been around a couple cycles, so he knows what he's talking about. I feel. I thought it was really interesting the other day, and I'm glad he pointed this out. He was talking about all the core coins, and while I'm saying this, if you want to pull up that PulseX Pulse chart, Ewok, that we always go to, he was demonstrating how we all know PulseX has run hard against Pulse, again, for its entire history, basically. It's been the most bullish chart there is. And I don't know if that was somebody in the background's attempt to get them near parity. We saw them get to price parity. We actually saw PulseX intraday go over Pulse whenever the lawsuit was dismissed back in February, just for a few hours anyway. But PulseX measured against Pulse has actually broken down now. There was a trend line that Donovan had, and you can even tell just manually looking at it here. And just looking at the prices right now, like you can see even just without putting a trend line, you're going to do it. But even if you didn't, you can see that it started to, yeah, exactly. That's probably where you'd have it. And I think where he had it.
Damn it.
Yeah, I don't know why that keeps happening to you. That's okay. But you can see it breaking down, which is pretty interesting. And he was actually advocating, and again, this is what I was just speaking kind of against that I wouldn't do, but he was saying I would be buying all Pulse right now over PulseX, which that's your own decision to make. Maybe he'll be right on that for, the term that we're in right now. But it looks pretty clear. I mean, it looks like it's broken down out of that. I'm still DCAing into them equally and everything because that's what I did on the way up too. It's not like I was buying just PulseX the whole time. So I'm not going to then just turn and do just Pulse at this point. But yeah, you can see pretty clearly it has broken down, and it's kind of a shame because we've loved so much looking at how strong this chart is. But yeah, I'm wondering what you make of that. I'm still going to buy them equally. You talked about Pulse potentially being more suppressed because it is the gas token. And frankly, I think it is the least sexy token to own. There's really no one who has said Pulse is going to be the best performer. It's either PulseX or HEX out of the core tokens. Really, nobody's been, said that Pulse will be the winner. So, yeah. What do you make of this?
I totally agree with that. When things break below it, I don't know. I mean, it's been bullish for so long. It had to correct. I feel like there had to be some sort of correction at some point to bring it kind of back down to earth. Was it intentional to get things together? That's always a interesting theory too. There are inner workings behind the scenes that, there are certain people that want things to happen a certain way, and have the capital hidden in order to do it. So, you have to consider that as well. And do we get it to a certain level? Do we get it to 0.5? Does Pulse run up a little bit? away from this, which would pull this down. And then it kind of all goes together. Is there a certain ratio that is the magical ratio or whatever it may be? That's a possibility. But again, this has been running very well against PulseChain for quite some time. I think it was only natural for it to have a little bit of a correction. And you know, I think it'll get back up into here. Now, will it take over? Will it go 1-to-1? I'm not sure. It's just really hard to say right now because, like I said, when things run, it's really going to be a matter of where is the capital coming in from, right? Which token is being used to buy which token when it hits. There aren't a whole lot of stable coins out there for PulseChain. I mean, we have the three that are wrapped and bridged over. But even the CST token, you can't mint it anymore. And so that kind of eliminates one. However, you can buy PulseChain, or PulseX, HEX, Incentive, and I think there's two other ones. You can probably buy the weight token, and I forget which. There was one more, and I can't remember what it is.
PDI. I mean, it's
it's not PDI. They don't deal with that one.
Okay.
It might be a Fux token, PHUX. So there's one anyway that's out there, and I think that was also because they had them listed. The CST token is listed on their platform as well as a balancer type deal. So
okay,
quite possible.
Bitfinesse, yeah, good comment for the long term, and I'm with you here. Every cycle, we'll see PulseX run harder and harder relative to Pulse due to its progressive buy and burn forever. I mean, I agree. Really, all the tokens in the ecosystem at different times have had deflationary properties to help them, you know, the supply be cut and the demand go higher. But I think PulseX, yeah, has the best built-in one. I mean, Pulse really didn't have it as much until pump tires came along. And HEX had kind of an inflation issue going on until we saw a shit ton of it get staked a little while back. So
yeah, and Yellowtail brings up a good point too. Pulse has had good yields as validators lately as well. So there could be some rotation into that, more validators being created. So you know, I haven't looked at the validator numbers in a while to see an increase. Let me see if I can pull that up while you're chatting.
Oh, okay. I was actually looking to where we're going to go next, but all this is good though. I mean, like seeing all of this debate about which coin to go into right now and all the benefits of all of them, measuring them against each other. I mean, this is like pre-blast off type talk, I think. So, I mean, this is encouraging for sure.
Okay. So this is one of the only ones where I know the validators have really leveled out over time. I mean, we're stuck right about 48,000. It's actually come down a little bit, not much. It was 49,000 back here in February. We're down to 48. So maybe that's why the yield, you know, we've seen 1,000 less validators. So it's possible that that's why the fees have gone up a little bit. There's that many fewer.
Yeah.
So 48,678 validators is a hell of a lot. You know, quite secure, quite decentralized. Yeah. So this says now 52,000.
It just changed.
It must have just,
or maybe you were hovering over.
Like here it says today 48,000, and this says now. So I don't know what happened here between. That's very strange. Either way,
safe to say in the neighborhood of 50,000. So
yeah, roughly.
That is good. So good stuff for all the core coins in the ecosystem. Awesome to see where we're at right there. If you guys are enjoying the stream, do us a favor and peg away at that like button. We appreciate you all being here tonight. We got to go to this. So even though we did just obviously talk about some HEX, let's go to the Richard Hart tweet from over the last week. This is what really, honestly, this is what started to get us moving up again. That's when it started anyway. And we all know, I mean, it was the story of last bull market. HEX on Ethereum did a 10,000x from the bottom. Now, how many people bought the nut bottom. I don't know. What was it? Day 33 Ewok
Yep.
was the bottom.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So
I got some that day.
okay, there you go. Ewok did it. So if you think about what Richard says here, so this is from the 7th. He said they yelled scam at HEX to 10,000x. I wonder if they'll do it again. So encouraging, and people start deciphering that. Does he think that HEX is going to do a 10,000x this cycle? Because none of us are counting on that. Ewok maybe delusionally is. Just messing with you. But many people, I mean, we've been beaten down so bad. I mean, literally, this is not hyperbole. There's been people the last few months that were like, just give me a 5x and call it a day. I mean, people have been down, I don't think we're getting a 5x necessarily, but I don't think many people, the days of PulseX is going to 14,000x this cycle before PulseChain launched. That's long gone. There haven't been people really talking about that at all. But this made people do the math. Wonder what RH is talking about. Is he's talking about HEX on PulseChain, presumably. Its all-time low is 0035-ish. So is he saying that HEX is going to go to $35? And he may be speculating on it, but is that now? Is that this cycle, or is that someday? Is it just bull talk to get people pumped up? And obviously, Richard last cycle did a lot of that, live streamed all the time. We have seen a totally different environment this time around, whether that be because of the dealings with the corrupt SEC or the Interpol corruption, or him just wanting it to seem even more decentralized and not be, the guy whose face is always out there making the pumps happen. You know what I mean? Which I think is a good idea as well. I would want to separate myself from it too. So I get that. So, what's your take on it? I mean, what time frame do you think he's talking about here? Is this just totally bullish copium? Is there things we have the mass marketing going on? We were going to get to a part of that topic here tonight too. What could be up his sleeve? Just curious, whatever direction you want to take it.
Well, I think it's a possible premonition. I mean, he did once say, and that's why I scrolled down to this comment as well. He also said, you guys realize 10 cents doesn't matter on the way to $100. Mm-hmm. That was another of his comments. So I think he sees it as totally possible. And another 10,000x would be pretty historic for back-to-back. The guy wants glory, right? And I don't think it would take a whole lot of money to make that happen. I really don't. And he wouldn't even have to touch the ETH, whatever foundation ETH reserve, strategic reserve, I should say. Wouldn't have to touch it. He's got plenty of other options available. I'll never forget the time that him and Eric Wall were having a conversation where he said, you guys don't realize how many options I have available to make crazy things happen. And then he kind of stopped what he was saying because he didn't want to get himself in trouble for the comments. But I could see him doing it again and being known as, hey, HEX is that coin that you guys called a scam and it did 10,000x 2 cycles in a row. What kind of attention would that really get? I mean, it's just crazy to think about. So I don't see $30 as being that outrageous. I've said what, 5, 10 bucks. That's only another 3x from there. So
it's only a 3,700x from where we're at right now, basically.
Well, from where we're at, yes, obviously. But again, when things run, it goes crazy. You start to see these numbers in your wallet that it baffles you. It's like, holy shit, it's up again. And when it happens so fast, it kind of takes you by surprise. So could it happen? Could it be a quick top? Maybe. Or something at the very last moment to get that number. It's possible. You'd have to catch it, quickly, like people had to catch the one at 55 cents or 56 cents at the top. Doesn't stick around very long at all.
15 years, but yeah.
What's that?
As long as they weren't staked for 15 years, anyway.
Well,
but
a little bit of liquid, a little bit of stake.
That's what people should do. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
So
NJ Dub. I mean, yeah, this is honestly, I honestly would say this at like 50 cents. So, I mean, as long as you're positioned where even 50 cents, you can make this statement, I think you'll feel pretty good. But yeah, $30 hex, and I would never complain. I mean, I would do this exercise. Okay, this is why I don't feel that this is going to happen. But I would love for it to. Just see what your portfolio, assume, I guess, like he's saying hex. He's not saying every token in the ecosystem, but
right.
it's fair to say if you say hex does that this cycle, that everything does something similar to that because of the liquidity bonding. Just look at what your portfolio would be. Do you think you're going to have that amount of money in the next 6 months? I don't, but I take a fraction of it if I were being honest. But I'm hopeful, and again, and I don't know if this earlier comment from Ren from the Ren and Stimpy show. I'm trying to get up to it. Oh, my
That
bad.
one?
Go ahead. I hit
That
it.
one?
Yeah. How about Pulse or Pulse X to 10,000X instead from the bottom? That is. I don't know if that's telling me that you don't have any hex, but this is why we've been buying everything. Like Ewok probably has more incentive, no pun intended, for hex to be the one that does it because you were around all of last cycle. Like you packed your hex bags in earnest already. And I'm guessing they're your biggest bags. For some of us that have been around mostly more this cycle, which some of us are a hybrid. I mean, I already had a lot of hex, or some hex, but you may have bigger Pulse or Pulse X bags. But I would have been like, I was just looking earlier today because I DCA'd today, and I'm happy with the buckets that I have in all three of the buckets. So. I wouldn't want to
be for those starting this cycle and the ones just getting into the PulseChain kind of thing, if they're equal buckets, then they should be pretty happy. If you only sacrificed for one or the other, or maybe both, and didn't pick up hex, they could be disappointed. Hex was born, I mean, it was his first creation. I still think he thinks it's his best one because everything else is a fork, right? He didn't create PulseChain. Technically, right. It's an Ethereum fork. He didn't create PulseX. It's a fork of Uniswap. Incentive is kind of a takeoff on Cake or any of the other reward tokens that are out there. So Hex is still his baby. And I think the thing that's probably going to happen is when we do get to 50 cents or whatever it may be, how many people are going to get out and be like, yes, and it could just keep running, because that would be the point where you do see a massive dip at get like 60-70% drawback and then just get another rip like crazy, and people would get caught off guard because they got out way too soon. So or maybe not way too soon. Maybe they were fine with that profit. Obviously, they sold at a level that they were comfortable with. And but yeah, like I said, it could easily happen. It would be a very quick candle, I think, but sure would be something for him to talk about and definitely put out there as an achievement that hasn't happened. But did Bitcoin do it twice in a row? I think Bitcoin may be the only one to 10,000x 2 cycles in a row. I mean, it's done over a 10 million X. So
yeah. And Ren does say, I have Hex 2, just an all-time high with Hex again, and I'm good, not retired, but stress-free. Well, that's definitely good. I mean, I'm with you. Yeah, it would be cool, I guess, for another token to do that. But you make a good point, Ewok. Yeah, PulseChain is a fork of Ethereum. PulseX, it is basically, it's really not Uniswap. I mean, it is a DEX modeled off Uniswap, but it has all the things that Uniswap could have that they refuse to have. So, I mean, it is a unique DEX in the terms that it has the fee switch turned on and the buy and burn going and everything. Which does make it unique, but Hex is more unique. So I get where you're coming from with that. Yeah, Hex is definitely his baby, his unique creation. And yeah, I understand. And the thing that keeps you thinking the longest term, which I think is good.
Yeah. And you know how powerful the delayed gratification is with Richard. So, it just really puts that in a better perspective of the delayed gratification, the model of it, people being around long term to see it, and I'm excited.
Interesting comment from Valiant Lowkey. I could totally see Richard doing something like this. I read somewhere he could use the EHEX low and the PHEX top for his X's calculation and bragging rights. I could, I mean, that's why you measure from the bottom. And I mean, the other part of that thinking is if you were around to have EHEX, you got duplicates on PulseChain.
Right,
So you
right.
have both. So he could have a somewhat valid argument that it's like, hey, if you were holding this, you were holding that. So
Or a combined price between the two. Because again, if you had them, what if one does a 3000X and one does a 7000? And you got the fork tokens, right? That's a 10,000X. I who knows? It could be spun many ways, but
yeah,
we'll have to see.
Yeah. But really good to hear. And yeah, if you don't already have HEX bags packed, I mean, it's not like it just went up 100X in a couple days based on Richard's tweets. I mean, you do have a little bit of time here to get in. And yeah, you want to read RH, it's a lengthy one, and it's about the events that transpired today that we talked about at the top of the show. But if you want to look at RH's feed, Ewok, he just now posted a pretty good post I can read real quick for us.
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't see it yet. Okay, there you go. So, all right. So he says there's tiny windows of time where people are emotionally moved enough to take massive action to improve their life. Perhaps now I want the USA to be great and the American dream is alive and well outside America. If the church shooting 2 weeks ago or the recent murders or the school shooting in Colorado today aren't enough to motivate you to go someplace safer, maybe the tax incentives could help. If you choose to live in a place with the highest percentage of people in jail in the history of Earth, and many would argue that percentage needs to be higher, perhaps you might work towards moving someplace safer. Do you remember the Las Vegas concert shooting, all the road rage shootings? The best defense, as always, is distance. I learned that in martial arts, and it's been useful to know in all kinds of situations since. I'll keep trying to make the USA a better place out of the kindness of my heart from nice, safe places. There's a wide array of countries out there where the people you enjoy watching speak aren't being shot with bullets while speaking, and they even have lower taxes. Carrying, voting, speaking out does nearly nothing compared to improving your physical location. If not for yourself, think of your family. Yes, I know it's expensive. Yes, I know the rest of the world isn't perfect, but I know you can try. That's an interesting sentiment. And I imagine that's a picture from the White House or something today, because I know they're half staff. Yeah, what do you make of that? I mean, this is just kind of off the cuff, instant reaction, but my initial reaction is it's just a real shame, that this is the case in America right now. I mean, he's not wrong, and he hasn't lived here for over 20 years.
Yeah. At least. Yeah. I don't remember when he said that he left Florida, but I think it's been at least 20 years. I know he moved south. He was down in the Central America for a while and got robbed down there, and then went over to Europe, where it was probably a little bit better at that time. I still think this kind of points back to, well, you always wish that it would point back to something like Hexaco, right? I talked about it on the conference. Yeah. And how something like that could be pretty amazing. And I think he's saying tiny windows of time where people are emotionally moved to take action, and perhaps that's right now. Mm-hmm. Take action, be somewhere safer. I don't know that it really matters where you're at. There's always a risk, whether it be a shooting or stabbings or just crazy things that you see no matter what. Hammers are a tool that have hurt people before. So it's very tough. It's just, if you can go somewhere safer, I'm sure there's always kind of risks. There's always risks versus the benefits and to find somewhere that's perfect with no crime and no tax. But I don't know, they're few and far between. And then you have to also figure in picking your family up and moving them somewhere. Um, that's tough to do, with kids in school and so it's just I get it. I get what he's saying. And it is expensive to move. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what he's trying to say. Is just maybe try to find someplace safer to do your thing, and
Yeah, he's still. We're not going to keep looking at him right now. He just posted another one about Dubai or something. But yeah, Hex potential. I mean, we're well aware of the issues in the UK right now. I think you guys are dealing with some of the crazy censorship that's been way beyond anything that's happened even in the United States over the last couple of years. He says no better here in the UK. I'll be heading to Dubai soon as we see some good gains, and I know many others with the same mindset. So yeah. Go ahead if you want to just look at this one other one, and then I just wanted to wrap up with some of the
market. Yeah, he said I've heard lots of folks move to Dubai for safety, and then they have 0% tax on personal income. I hear they put people in jail for many years for anything having to do with drugs, and being rude is literally illegal. I think many crypto people go to Puerto Rico because it's an American territory, and I've heard you can get capital gains tax to 0% there, although it's not as safe from crime as Dubai. Google it.
So yeah, nowhere's perfect. I think he's just still, there's nowhere that's going to be perfect, but he does point out some unfortunate truths about the United States right now. I mean, it's
sure.
It's sad to see, and this is a large country, so it's also kind of dependent upon where you live. Know, I think you and I are somewhat fortunate where we are that. Well, I mean, what happened today happened in Utah, so I don't. It's not like it happened in.
It wasn't New York City or Miami or any big city like that. It was kind of out in the middle of nowhere,
Right, and there are radical people everywhere you look. I guess it's just best to try to live. Look at what happened after the pandemic. I mean, people in droves moved out of the big cities because of the draconian measures people were taking and forcing them to live a certain way. And people moved out into the country. Texas, it's well documented, got inflows of people, but not even moving to another state. I mean, even if you New York is not New York City. I mean, there are areas of New York that is bumfuck Egypt. I mean, you're like in the woods. And that can be good. You get in a mid-sized city in a state that's decent on taxes. And, that's the thing with America is we have states. So, I mean, there's 50 states that police
are all differently.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's that to keep in mind too. So, yeah. I don't know. Any final thoughts there? It's a big conversation, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. But like I said, just still going back to the thought of Hexaco actually existing one day is still pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. One can hope. And, and I think that's RH's entire mission is he wants to enrich people with like-minded attitudes. And we can create something similar to that, hopefully someday. So I guess we'll see. But good stuff from him. Let's wrap up with this. I want to make sure we touch on the marketing thing because, yes, people are reacting to the PulseChain devices that are being sent out. Yes, we now have seen what the packaging looks like. I think it would be best, Ewok, if you were able to find, is that the right one? I know I sent you a couple similar. Well, that's the Reddit one. Okay, we can start here. But there's also the one from that woman that is great as well.
Got it.
There. Okay, so, and I want to say this. I don't think anybody really was too vitriolic or anything to this woman. I mean, it's not like she said anything really that bad. But you go to her profile and her, pinned post is that her husband just passed away 2 years ago. And he was a big time, really hacker. Interesting. Yeah. Like white hat hacker he ended up being, I guess, which is kind of cool. But so interesting guy she was married to, an interesting person. And apparently I guess she received one of these. She said scams are for, I take this a little tongue in cheek. I I like that she posted it completely, honestly. She says scams are forever. This time a mass mail crypto shill scam using a dollar store gadget to trick people into buying into HEX and PulseChain. I don't care why she posted this. I love it. It's got a lot of attention, and I wanted to see what the packaging looks like. Okay. Click on the picture if you don't mind to show us the packaging a little bit further up close.
Okay, we're sitting at 452,000 views. Just
on that post.
Yeah.
So I love this. I know some people are critical, and like Corey Geary said a couple of weeks ago, I think those people don't know what they're talking about. I agree with them 100%. If I got this in the mail, and I took it out of my mailbox, I would say, what the fuck is this? That's what I would say. And that exact tone and everything. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
And then I would immediately open it.
Yeah.
And like the exclamation points do not indicate something good. Okay. And look, I mean, I'm just being honest. Like Richard Hart knows how to market. That's what this is, a marketing campaign. When you are on YouTube, and I know people don't like clickbait, but actually, yes, they do, because that's the stuff that they click on.
Yeah.
Fear inducing things, like fear of like FOMO, things like that, curiosity. Those are what people click on. Okay. Sometimes how to do this or the top 10 ways to do this, those can get clicks too. But preying on people's fearful thoughts makes them click on things. Okay. I'm just saying, don't blame me. Don't blame the messenger. Don't blame Richard Hart. I mean, that is the human psyche. Our brains are wired to look for things to help us. You know, we have anxiety because we're trying to fend things off. That's what our ancestors did. So anyway, that's how our brains work. So you got these exclamation points, electronic LCD tablet enclosed. I would be like, what the hell is this? And then you read what's in the box. I'm not going to do it. What's in the box? But you read what's in there, and then it's a free LCD tablet, and it's good for the environment and all this stuff. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But the eye-catching of it, I think this is brilliant. I mean, now that I understand the low cost of these compared to the kind of honestly extravagant device we all speculated this to be, like a video and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think the packaging's better than the actual item, if I'm being honest. I think it's wonderful. What do you make of this packaging? And chat, I want to hear what the chat thinks. Let us know, guys, too.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, I do want to read what it says in the box. It says, we sent you this valuable item so that you'll like us. You know, that's the first thing it says, and learn about free and open source technology like Ethereum that was 31 cents in 2014 and is nearly $5,000 in 2025. So that grabs you, right? I mean, if you read it, if you're looking at it, it grabs you. People that may not know about it. And I think that's who's being targeted right now is the general population who does not crypto. Newer projects improve on it with higher speeds, lower fees, scarcer supply through burns, or easier ways to launch coins. So you're one of the first people in the world to receive this device, with many more shipping soon. So he includes that.
That's great.
You're one of the first people to get it. There's more coming out. So the first thing that makes me think is, ooh, I could be early to something.
Yes,
exactly. I love the way it's worded. I mean, I think that's just as important.
I didn't realize it was that good. Yeah.
Yeah. And it says, we gratefully accept PulseX, HEX, and ETH donations, which I think that could have been left out, but whatever. You know, and then down below it says educational purposes only, not investment, legal, or tax advice. So yeah. But I just like the way it was worded, how this is what Ethereum did in 2014. Now 10, 11 years later, look at it. It's $5,000. And you're one of the first people to be getting this, to tell you about something new. I love it. I think it was great. Just the way it's worded, and it kind of lets people know, hey, could be early to something here that could get very valuable.
I love it. I don't think I ever must have read that entire thing, because that is brilliant. I mean, this is not me like appealing to authority. I genuinely think that this is extremely well done.
Yeah.
The packaging is amazing. What do you want to go over to the Reddit post one that Cabana posted? Because
yeah, sure.
That got a lot of hits too. I actually went on that thread and replied. and upvoted a lot of the good PulseChain comments. But yeah, he says, hello, PulseChain. Here's a Reddit thread asking about the outrage marketing device. It would be cool if more in the community would offer educational, positive feedback and dislike appropriate comments. So yeah, I went to that subreddit, and I mean, just remember when you're going into the realm of Reddit, you're not entering, you know,
it's not friendly territory.
No, not exactly. But it's an interesting thread. It's funny because the person's main concern is they're like terrified of it connecting to their Wi-Fi and taking all this information from them or something. And,
Right.
and immediately all these neutral people are just like, no, it can't connect to your Wi-Fi, boomer, and all this stuff. But I thought it was good. There was a lot of clearly people who are already invested in this ecosystem chiming in and, you know, offering advice on what it is, just talking about what it could be, speculating on PulseChain. Some of them you can tell they're pretending they're not already invested in it and trying to sound authentic, and it seems a little fake. You know what? Maybe I can pull it up on my phone and read a couple of them just real quick if I still have the thread. What are your thoughts on this though too? Because it's got a lot of hits. I mean, I think this is really, really good.
Well, Reddit's one of those areas where, you know, they've always had a love-hate Hexagon relationship with Richard Hart. You know, there's so many on there defending him. There's so many on there calling him a scam. So it's always been that way. And again, when you get something like this that markets well, it causes attention. It causes stir, right? You're getting eyes on it, whether it's good press, bad press, it's press. And if it really did cost, let's be generous and say each one cost maybe $5 to send out. And I think that's high. I think it's probably a $2 tablet and probably cost $1 to send because of the bulk that was purchased. How many views? Like that other one, the other one got 425,000 views. So this from the one lady.
This has, and I'm not on Reddit a ton, but this has 478 upvotes, 435 comments. I don't know where it says views on it. I don't see that. But for this particular subreddit, which is the what is it subreddit, which I didn't know existed, it seems like it's doing well. And here one of the top comments is right here. I remember seeing ads for HEX back in the day and thinking it was a scam. Then it ran up something like 10,000x. Regrets. That's like the second comment.
Yeah.
With 121 upvotes. So,
and I'm guessing that was probably a Hexagon.
It probably is, but
but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, totally.
I love it. I love the attention. I love the people think they're doing somebody a favor by saying, why did I get this? And then it turns into something and it just blows up every time. It's funny. They get angry.
Yeah, and that was the incentive behind it. Like, I mean, you put those exclamation warning signs there, it looks like danger. Like those two symbols beside whatever the bold statement is, like LCD tablet inside. That is to grab your attention. It's on a very base level right away, it's to induce fear. Like you're going to look at it and be like, whoa, what the hell is this shit? You know, I mean, that's what I'd say if that came in my mailbox for sure.
And then you'd open it right away.
I definitely, and then I'd be happy it wasn't like anthrax or something.
Right.
I'd be like, cool, okay, this is just a tablet. Yeah, honestly, that comment I just read is one of the most upvoted comments on the thread. So that's very cool. Yeah, pretty early on in the thread. So, and we're going to see more of this. This is the other thing. I mean, it's only been a week and a half since the first round of these have been delivered, and we're seeing
for sure.
Things. Yeah,
and Axis just said it. The best is yet to come, even with these. So yeah. Max, Axis Alive. Good to see you both.
Yeah, good to see both you guys here. I love it. I cannot wait we knew this day was coming. I mean, we've been saying for weeks, like when they actually start to hit doorsteps, it's going to be great because we're going to see people sharing it. We'll figure out what it is right away. That's literally what happened. And yeah, I love it. You're going to see more hate posts and stuff, and it's wonderful. Yeah.
It's going to grab attention. It's going to pay off. Like I said, you can't pay $2 or $3 to get 400,000 views. I mean, that is it's truly a great marketing method. Now, not every one of them is going to be a hit. You know, there are going to be people that get it, don't say a word about it, but the few dozen that do that get these type of views is going to be well worth it and pay for itself.
Yeah, beyond all, I agree with you here on the Reddit post. I mean, we don't have to. Some people want to go in there and do the like, I never heard of it. I know that Richard Hart guy is kind of blah blah blah. I think you can just go in and be honest. Like, look, you know, especially if you did have a good experience. I mean, like some of us, let's not kid ourselves. A lot of us are bag holders from last cycle, not just with HEX. I mean, just with a lot of stuff even. But yeah, like go in and say, look, I mean, this dude is legit. There's a documentary about him. HEX did do a 10,000x last cycle. While the crypto industry as a whole has been down the last few years, we have reason to believe it's going to run up hard. And I wouldn't, you know, place my money here, you know, number one. So,
and the SEC victory, they were one of the few ecosystems that have clarity. You know, that's huge too. So
yeah, one of the only has clarity that Ethereum does not have, actually. Yeah. So yeah, this is just tremendous. I mean, I got to think we're going to see this exponentially. We're going to see this more and more and more all over the place. And I was just telling you guys the other day, when this stuff was coming out, just like 3 days ago, when we got this post and that woman's post and everything, my feed was, and again, obviously it's a bit curated for me and I follow a lot of PulseChain stuff, but my feed was literally all HEX and PulseChain. I saw nothing else, none of the sports stuff that I follow, nothing else whatsoever. And it reminded me of 2021. I distinctly remember 2021 in the fall when everything was completely popping off. HEX was spam. I mean, like if you went on Twitter, even if you weren't like a HEX person, I mean, in crypto, it was everywhere. The HEX branding was everywhere. There were HEX people posting constantly. And I was more of an outsider then. I mean, I owned HEX, but I wasn't like as into this. You know, there wasn't this ecosystem yet and stuff. And I was, you know, newer to some things. But I mean, it was spam. And I mean that in the best of ways. I mean, I could not get away from it. It was everywhere. And I'm like, I've never seen anything like it. This is the cult. There's no cult like this in crypto. And I think that's only become more true now. I mean, there's no way you can say that anything is, you know, got more of a following than this right now, you know?
Yeah, we just need to hope that this didn't have any of those containers in it.
What the hell is that?
Chaotic scene unfolded at the port of Long Beach on Tuesday morning when dozens of containers fell off of a cargo ship into the water.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume probably not.
I hope not.
Yeah, probably not. But good news though. I mean, just seeing these things go out is fantastic. We have RH continuing to post out here tonight. So yeah, I mean, we are at a pivotal point, I guess, you know, just in the world right now, it seems, with some of these crazy things going on here on U.S. soil today, and with where the crypto market is going. Yeah, I guess any final thoughts from me would just be, we talked about the Charlie Kirk, obviously shot and killed earlier today in Utah. You know, if you want to see our short conversation about that, you can go back to the beginning, but obviously rest in peace to him. Our thoughts are with his family, especially his children. Yeah, and in terms of what's going on in markets and crypto right now, I mean, all systems go, it seems to be. I think we're a week away from rate cuts, at least 25 basis points. Bitcoin, Ethereum holding up magnificently with this jobs report and all this garbage. RH feeling bullish, the mass marketing going out. I love our show, Ewok, because when you get overthinking during the week and you're down or whatever, we have a good chance to kind of zoom out here and, you know, talk with each other, engage with the chat. And it just makes you kind of more thankful for where it looks like we're at right now. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't be happier. And you know, I've been busy with work last 2 weeks actually. And it's good. It's good that I'm kind of pulling away. I don't have time to sit there and stare at charts or do anything because, you know, training new people and things like that, it takes time. So Yeah. Again, I'm thankful that I'm not immersed in it every day. It's not sitting there looking at it and thinking, when's it going to go up? When's this going to happen?
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I don't think we could be in a better place. People just need to be patient. When this takes off, it's going to go. Still have a little time to get your bags loaded if you haven't yet. I don't know what you've been waiting for, but
Yeah.
it is going to happen. So prepare yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's time to be prepared now, have an action plan. There's a lot of ducks you may need to get in a row, especially with how quick some of these things could happen. So
Yeah.
one of these times we'll be right and the prices will start to go up. So we appreciate all of you guys being here tonight. We do this every Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Zach, Beyond All, Hex Potential, Axis Alive, RH Max, Valiant Low Key, NJ Dub, Checks My Pulse. I don't know if he was here, but he's always here. KB, Rocket Mob. I did see DJ and Moonboy and clock in earlier just for a minute. Yellowtail, Ren. I named everybody at the top of the show. I think Bit Finesse, Alan. Appreciate all of you guys. Again, we do this every single week. Pulse Hex as well. Appreciate you guys being here. We will be here next week. We should be talking about a rate cut from the Fed. Let's knock on wood. Maybe we'll have a lot to talk about. Maybe it'll be the 50 basis points and things.
Let's hope.
Off. Yeah. Duke of Booze. Appreciate you too, man. Thank you very much. So love you guys. Have a great week. We will catch you next week for Crypto Ewok. This has been Broke Boy Crypto right here on the Creed of Crypto.
See ya.